Quite an unfortunate incident. I saw that story yesterday. It's quite heart-wrenching to even think that they were within their own facility where they were having their female strike force do simulation. But something went wrong, and for many people, it's inexplicable. Was it a problem of not taking enough precautionary measures? You know, these things that police do, the armed forces do, and NSCDC, of course, also does that. You do simulation for some sort of scenarios. What if there's maybe an incident where pipelines are being vandalized, for instance, by armed, vandals? In the case of the NSCDC, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, what do we do? What would be the likely, reaction and things like that? So we've seen the police do that. We've seen Navy, Air Force, and the Army do that as well. But this one went south, as I say. I mean, it just didn't go well, and I almost didn't have the guts to look at that vehicle as they were trying to roll it over or lift it up or whatever they were doing with all the crowd around it and things like that, because a female officer has been lost now. We understand that, yes, the Commandant General of the NSCDC has condoled with the family and the loved ones. They lost someone very dear to them. Who knows, maybe even a breadwinner and things like that. But precaution is what some people say was not taken in this case. Simulation may be simulation, but sometimes the process itself, the dynamics around it, can be potentially hazardous.
Well, they always say, I don't think as Nigerians, sometimes we always wait for to learn the hard way, as VDM was saying.
You're sounding like, yeah.
So we should be proactive. We should always foresee things. We should ask, what if?
What if?
We always try to be 10 steps ahead, because, I mean, we're still a bit backwards when it comes to technology, even if we know how to use it.
Yeah.
Talking about the response, emergency responses and everything is still laid back. So as every individual should have their lives in their hands, right? Make sure that you are doing your own best. You're not depending on some agency, some government, or even another person. Make sure that you've done your own best. And your best was not enough.
Right.
Yes. Let's not be that you didn't even try.
At all.
So it's quite sad.
It is quite sad, and we hope the lessons, whether learned the hard way or learned from a place of convenience, will be applied to future exercises of this nature, because we can't continue to lose men and women in uniform to simulation. This was not even an attack by an aggressor or maybe a protest or some sort of violent scenario. We need to be more precautious in the future about this. But we'll be turning our attention to politics. The PDP, that is already a divided party, appears to be further divided now, because again the court in Oyo State has now upheld the convention that I held there 15th and 16th of November last year, saying that November checked out, and as such it is valid and it cannot be voided. That now gives some, if you like, legality to not just that exercise, that's a convention, but as well as part to the Turaki-led faction of the party. So the Turaki-led faction of the party says, in our case, what we are doing now is we are trying to put stuff together and pursue e-registration. And then the Wike-led faction says, no, I mean, I should say the Abdul Rahman-led faction, even though that's the Wike-led faction. Says our own priority at this point in time is we want to organize or conduct congresses.
Well, what has the court said at this point?
The court says that the convention that held in Oyo State in Ibadan last year is valid. And if that's what it says, the implication is that the Turaki-led faction is in charge of the PDP. But the UK, I mean, as you said, the Wike faction is buying none of that.
Wow, it's an interesting one if you ask me. We had one of those members of the Wike-led faction come here last week and talked about, all their plans. And I'm wondering where the plan stands right now. Because the PDP has given us an interesting movie in the past 1 year. Yeah, we see things unfold. I don't know who comes up to say, oh, we want to nullify this, we want to take this to court. And then if you have not heard from the court, you're already making your own plans. Is that faith in action? what do we call that? But at the end of the day, I would say it's interesting, right? PDP has been one of the major parties in Nigeria. Whether we like it or not, they have contributed to our democracy. They have played a very big role. And whoever is still left in that party now is standing there because they are a major stakeholder. They have seen PDP work at some point. They still have that faith and believe in the system.
And a good number of them have also benefited from it.
Exactly. So, but at the end of the day, I really think that the whole division right now and where other parties stand, or the part of the one faction of the party stands, is not quite clear, especially the Wike-led faction of the party. It's funny. It looks as if we are here to we are here to benefit. It's written, we are here to benefit. That is what I see playing out with the other faction. But then we are waiting to see how everything unfolds.
Well, I think the interesting thing is that politics never stops to be intriguing, really, especially for a party that has so much of division within its fold right now. And it's for that reason many people argue that the PDP may not be able to survive this term. I mean, you are not likely going to have PDP as we know it. I personally asked some of the chieftains of the party what happens to the PDP going into 2027 cycle of general elections. They say, well, the PDP is not just going to participate in the election. The party will come go in very formidably, and it will win elections, including presidential election. Like Priscilla asked, could that be faith? Could that be, well, some radical optimism? Or could that be the party membership or the party leadership staying upbeat in the face of these very daunting, overwhelming challenges dealing with? People now call it the party of Wike. That sounds hilarious, but it is something that should bother those who have followed our policies since 1999. Because if we say we want to have a virile, formidable opposition in Nigeria, as far as politics is concerned, the PDP is one party that won't be forgotten in a hurry, because this is the party, so to speak, that brought Nigeria into led Nigeria into this around or this Fourth Republic, right? And as such, it has made history for whatever it's worth.
Well, I am also, I'm really interested. Do I say I'm quite amazed with the loyalty Wike has for the PDP? I mean, I like his loyalty. In other words, I don't know where it's coming from.
With what he's doing with the APC and the president, can we still categorically and fairly call this loyalty to the PDP?
Well, Wike has every right at this point to say, oh, let me go and officially join the APC. But whatever has still kept him back in the PDP needs to be studied.
What do you reckon that could be?
I don't know. I feel like he wants to prove the point to the world that he's a loyal person. He wants to prove that he's not someone that can just change minds based on situations or circumstances. He wants to prove that he's firm, and rugged, and he's doing well proving that point. He is doing well because we know our Nigerian politicians. We always want to go towards the greener side, the greener pasture. But Wike has consistently proven that you don't need to go over to join them. You can be anything and still join them.
I still make your point.
I still make your points, right? So I like his loyalty. It's not easy. Wike has faced all the backlash. He has faced everything. He had the whole saga with the naval officer. People came for him. He has still stood his ground to be fearless, to be a rugged man. So it's not easy, really. Whatever he has going for him, or whatever it is that is driving him, I would say kudos to him. But at the same time, we don't need the drama, right? It's unnecessary at this point. 2027 is just by the corner. If this party has expelled you and the court has said whatever it is they said in that convention or that convention stands, it means that both the expulsion stands, every other thing that came out from that convention stands, every decision that was made there stands. So at this point, I don't know if he wants to contend with that decision, if he wants to appeal that case. He's a lawyer. He has a lawyer son. he has a family of lawyers, a lawyer wife.
Right, in fact, a judge.
A judge for that matter.
Right.
So really, it's going to be an interesting one. But all I'm saying is we don't need this drama at this point. Wike is that person that always wants to prove a point. He wants to prove to the latter that I was right. At the end of the day, let it be draw. It's like the typical Warri man say, I don't know they carry last, although he's from River State.
Right.
Oh, sorry, Warri man that says Warri no they carry last. He's typically from River State, but I think it's the South blood that
carry last.
That know they carry last. So we don't need the drama, essentially, that's what I'm saying. It's time to focus. 2027 is by the corner. Whatever it is that we need to bring the people together, we need to start enlightening them. Right now, just take a side. I would not even advise this case to be dragged further to any other court, really. But
you see, that's the challenge, Priscilla. It's a bit of a dilemma, because if you say you do not expect or desire for this case to be dragged any further, the question is the PDP at any level across board ready for reconciliation? We've seen the PDP, which I also asked Dr. Carey here the other day, make efforts to reconcile aggrieved members, including those who have practically decamped or defected from the party. The last one, I remember quite all right, was led by Saraki, Bukola Saraki, former Senate president. But we have no idea, even PDP leaders are at a crossroads as to what has happened to that, really, I mean, that effort. So it's raising the question of how sincere or how ready is the PDP regarding reconciliation. If you're not ready to reconcile, then moving forward is practically impossible. I understand our guest has joined us at this point. We're being joined virtually from Abia State this morning by Peter Agwamba. Is a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, doubling as a reconciliation committee chairman in Abia State for the PDP. We would like to say a big thank you to you, Peter, for joining us on the program this morning. Peter, confirm that you can hear us, please. Okay, it'll appear we have not been able to gain an audio stream from Peter, but the idea is for him to, within the next few minutes, share insight with us. But then, of course, help us understand what's going on within his embattled party. A very good morning to you, Peter Agwamba. Right, we would like to thank you for your time. Making that decision to join us this morning on the program. All right, let me ask you, first of all, does the PDP consider reconciliation at this point in time as a measure for, if you like, getting back to its feet, as it were? Apparently, we still don't have audio there, but once we're able to reconnect with him, we get on with this conversation. But I was just concerned about how that we have seen the PDP deplete over time. Every time I talk with chieftains of the party, I try to highlight leaders. Of course, in our very face, former President Olusegun Obasanjo was seen in a video shredding his card, the membership card, and even some leaders of the party believe that that was the point at which PDP started to, if you like, derail or plummet in terms of leadership and membership, strength. And today, the PDP, for many people, is no longer the leading or frontline opposition party. They now believe that it is the coalition, or more precisely the ADC, that has taken that lead. And that's not far-fetched, because when you look at the ADC, you realize that a good number of the leaders there, they're from the PDP. Whether you want to talk about the chairman of the party today, David Mark, former Senate president, you want to talk about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and technically even Rotimi Amechi, because he came from the PDP in 2015 into the APC, in 2014, and we've seen all of that. Or you want to talk about a couple of other people there. Peter Obi had also been in the PDP. So it is safe to say that the PDP has largely populated the ADC.
One person has been missing in action in all the whole drama, and that is former President Goodluck Jonathan. He I don't know if he's currently staying in the PDP, but we heard at some point.
Or if he's avoiding the PDP.
He's avoiding the PDP, but we have not come out. He has not come out to say, I'm no longer in the PDP. We've not seen that action from him, and he has been missing in action.
Right.
Yeah, with the whole drama happening. So I'm just thinking, where is he? What's happening? Why is he not saying anything? Because at some point we thought that, you know, he's going to come out again. We had all the speculations that he's running 2027. Under the PDP, he seems to be the only candidate that can defeat, you know, the current government. He seems to be the only candidate that is widely accepted by Nigerians. But in the midst of this, he's quiet. Does that say the 2027 ambition was just a rumor, by the way? Or is it that he changed his mind along the line because of the whole drama? But it's funny. Yeah, every other party member we've seen. Nigeria, if you look at our Nigerian politicians, a majority of them emanated from the PDP.
Right.
Majority. We just have a few of them from, you know, different parties, but a majority of them. And what does that say? It means that still
right. I understand. Just to bump in on your apologies that our guest has joined us now. Peter Agumba, I would like to say a big thank you to you for joining us this morning on the program.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
We understand your schedule for this Monday morning is very tight, so we get right to the chase. Talk to our viewers about where PDP stands today. We are seeing a potpourri of court judgments, the latest one coming again from Oyo State, insisting, so to speak, that the convention from last year is valid. What are the implications?
Well, as far as I am concerned, and actually what looks very commonsensical is that that is an academic exercise. It's an academic exercise. It is an abuse of process. In my own understanding, I'm not a lawyer, but I think it's an abuse of process. The major thing in contention is the validity, the legality, authenticity of the convention that purportedly held at Ibadan in November. Now, there had been judgments, and these judgments, the contention has been taken to the appeal court, and the appeal court consolidated the various issues, the various judgments, the various issues in contention. This one saying we agree, we don't agree. These ones are saying we don't agree with this, we don't agree with this. And all these judgments centered on the validity of that convention, the appropriateness of that convention. And now, a matter that is already being for judgment at the appeal court, for a lower court to come and give judgment. Meanwhile, what is new about the judgment is already what is part of the contentions in the appeal court. That is why I say, in my own understanding, I just think it is an exercise, an academic exercise, just to fill space, and then to maybe excite people who want to be excited, and put more confusion to the people that want to be confused. That's what I think.
Since aggrieved members, we currently see two factions of the PDP, the Wike-led faction versus the Turaki faction. If this judgment stands, it means that the Turaki faction, you know, automatically takes leadership of the party. At this point, can we say that the PDP is open for reconciliation to aggrieved members of the party? Is there any room for a happily ever after again, after what happened in the last convention?
In my last session with you, I told you that PDP is a family, and in families, there are bound to be issues, minor disagreements. Those things, they're not mortal. They are not terminal issues. They are issues that can be resolved. So as far as we're concerned, where PDP is open to reconciliation and for reconciliation by and to all members, irrespective of
we seem to have lost him there.
All right, that was a loss of signal. Yes, feed from our guest Peter Agumba this morning was establishing. It's back on, right?
Go ahead, sir, please.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I said we are open. It's a normal thing. We are open to reconciliation. So there is nothing strange about our having reconciliation. Nothing at all.
To be part of, the other faction. Do you think it's going to be an easy thing for them to let down whatever it is that they hold on to and come back to, being a part of the bigger family?
Well, they should. Anybody that is in politics should have an open mind. You should have an open mind. Like now, the fate of any member, of any interest, of any party, of what I mean by party, I don't want to use the word faction because we are still one family. But then the prime objective of everybody is to have a united party. And so we should have an open mind. Wherever the pendulum swings, we come together as a family and we keep going. My sentiments, my bias notwithstanding, anywhere it goes, I think that I'm still a member of the party, and so many people reason this way. It doesn't matter where it is. What is important is that PDP, our family, our house, we want it to still be in order.
Move away a little from PDP specific issues and talk about the Electoral Act 2026. We have seen the opposition party, including your PDP, react to it. As it stands today, does the PDP still have concerns regarding these acts, especially in light of the 2027 general election? Or is the party now saying, well, we are helpless, there's nothing else we can do about it, the deed has been done?
I'm not actually an authority to speak for PDP, but I can speak as a chieftain of PDP in my own right as an individual. This matter is in the public domain. It's a matter of opinions, varied opinions, which to an extent almost borders on semantics. What Nigerians want is a free, fair, credible election. We have had several elections in the past. Having one of the best as the one that Humphrey Nwosu did using option A4 during Babangida regime. It was also an election. It was also subject to manipulation. So there is nothing that is perfect. What is important is that we want a credible election. All those things that we are written there, the uploading of the election of the election results and all that. The essence, the conclusion, the target is to have a credible election. I think that's just the thing. And so whatever revolves around it, I may say it is just a matter of semantics or people sharing opinion for the sake of maybe because of public probe or to express themselves. Otherwise, I do not see much that should be in contention about the Electoral Act. And then we're a nation. Democracy is not perfect anywhere, just like every human activity. What I think is that given that 2027 is so close, instead of engaging in unnecessary contentions, arguments up and down, we should look at how best to use this 2026 amended version of the Electoral Act to have a very beautiful and acceptable, free and fair election in 2027. And then afterwards, if there are areas that we observe some loopholes, some lapses, the National Assembly is still on. They can now go and put a touch to some of those things. Because the problem is not what is in the letters. The problem is the human nature. What do human beings do? In 2015, when we were told to use the beavers or the capturing machine, even the president, his own failed at different times. So while some part of the country concentrated on using the card, some others were using incident forms. At the end of the day, the incident form was allowed. Even the courts allowed it. So if we continue to argue, the problem, I think, is not with the law. It's not what is written. It's in the action of the people. If somebody says, okay, you are supposed to send the result to the IREV, and there is already an argument that IREV is a viewpoint, is not even a valid determinant of the real result. Some people will argue. Some people argue about network. All of us know that these things, there is no matter how you look at it, except you want to continue in unnecessary contentions, no matter how you look at it, you know that some of these facts, some of these things are facts. Even in the town, I'm talking with you in the from the town. Even in the town, sometimes the networks disappoint. Talk more of villages. In December, when we were all in the village, most times we were having issues with networks, so that one is there. But then you can also ask, what about those using POS there? What about those making calls there? Those things happen. Now, INEC is doing continuous voters registration. If you go to the various local governments, they're finding it very, very, very difficult to register voters because of network. So it is true that we have network problems. But then if somebody wants also to be realistic, we can also improvise. Because there are people that have talked about using, there is a network they're talking about. There are other networks that we can also use. And I think that INEC is funded well enough to have such. So, but for me, what I'm saying in effect is that it's not what the literature, it's not what is written in the law that is the problem. It's the human beings that will participate in the election. If somebody participates in an election with the motive of making sure that it's either he wins or there is catastrophe, then even if you bring the American-based technology in the place, the person must look at one way or the other to foment trouble during the election. So for me, the position of the opposition notwithstanding, I think that instead of arguing, we can come together instead of sounding cynical, like pessimistic. We can always come together and say, okay, now that we have this, let us try it. Let us try it. 2027. If we find loopholes, obvious loopholes, we can now know what next to do. Meanwhile, how did the National Assembly wait between 2023 to the 2026 before they started talking about amendment to the Electoral Act? Why do they have to do it at a point where it will assume a fire brigade approach? Why didn't they do it long before now? So Nigerians should understand that that is how we have always been. Sometimes we hurry into things and we hurry into errors. So instead of blaming ourselves and all that, meanwhile, leaving the opposition, why haven't we spoken? Or members started this matter of electoral act amendment all this while. So instead of this contentions, let us use what we have already. Let us use what we have. I think that we cannot fault it very correctly until we have made a try. That is my own. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but I'm not saying that it's outrightly bad, because it's just a minor thing. The real-time transmission of the result. I think that's what the major thing. Then another angle is the timing from 6 months to less. You have seen now that being a human thing, these things cannot be perfect. Look at the INEC had fixed the election for February, and there is an observation that it is a period of fasting, and then it will make a lot of people not to participate, and it has been adjusted to January. Even without January, the major part of the opposition are also saying that it is a wrong, that they have been ambushed. So you see what I'm saying, that being human, there is nothing you will do that will not be faulted. The other aspect, the mode of primaries. There is only one thing that was removed, which is indirect primaries. Some people are also complaining. And you know that indirect primaries is one of the most fraudulent aspects of party primaries. One is expensive, two is extremely fraudulent. So, but then, even at that, people are still complaining. What I'm saying is that there is nothing perfect. We are in opposition. PDP is in opposition. As much as I'm not speaking for PDP, but I'm speaking as a chieftain of the party, as an individual. This is my own personal opinion, that we should let go. Try what we have. Let us first have a determination to hold a successful election. Do the best we can. Then if we observe obvious challenges, then we can get on to do further amendments in the future.
Agree with you on the point that it was, quite a short notice. At the same time, too, it could have come earlier. Why the short notice? Why did we have to do the whole rush? But that aside, speaking generally about the PDP and possible candidates for the 2027 elections. Sometime around last year, we heard the rumors, that Jonathan is likely, that former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, is likely to be a candidate, as he appears to be one that's loved by Nigerians. But in 2026, we're not seeing him. We're seeing him missing in action. We've not heard comment from him, even in the midst of the whole chaos and, factions. Yeah, so what is the plan for PDP come 2027 as to having a presidential candidate? Are you teaming up with the APC? I know we spoke about this last time, but I want to know if anything has changed. Thank you.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, PDP is a strong party capable of fielding candidates for all offices, from the presidency to the councillorship. The PDP is strong and has the capacity to field candidates. However, we are not going to conscript anybody. It is a matter of choice. People have to declare their interest to run election, and then the party will screen them, and based on qualification and other criteria, the party can now adopt those people or accept those people as the candidates. We know that we have very eminently qualified persons, including, with all due respect, our statesman, our former president, Goodluck Jonathan. But then we are not going to drag him into something. If he's interested, he has to declare his interest. There are so many others also who are very eminently qualified to run, and the platform is available. I'm sure that in due time, there will be several persons that will want to run. Much as I also hinted in the last interview I had with you that I'm not averse to PDP supporting the presidential candidate of any other party if there is a sound understanding, especially the current president. If PDP decides, if in the wisdom of PDP, and I hope it happens that way, that they are going to support the president, President Tinubu, in the forthcoming election. So be it, especially when it is going to give us an opportunity, a time to heal. We will not run election just because we want to field a president. We should field a president. We should field a candidate with capacity to win, not just capacity on the side of the candidate, but on the side of the structure. The structure obviously is healing from a very serious wound and may not have the capacity to very confidently, to very certainly run, field a presidential candidate with the hope of winning. With given the shortness of time, we have less than 1 year. So if I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the party anyway. If I have my say, I will recommend that the party cooperates with the APC for the presidential candidate. And then we field candidates in other areas. We field candidates in other areas where we know we have capacity. Like in so many states, we are very strong. We are very, very strong. But when it comes to national spread, I do not know, I do not think in my own personal assessment that we have capacity to overrun the president and the APC. And so if they cut our relationship, if they cut our cooperation, if they cut an allegiance, an alliance with us, I think that there is nothing wrong about it. But meanwhile, we are not going to beg them. If they need us, they should be the ones that should approach us. I told you the last time that PDP is a beautiful bride, and we have continued as a beautiful bride. We have not changed. We are still the beautiful bride. Thank you.